Let's see. Who is joining us today from the 203 area code? Caller from 203. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Shiv. I'm calling from Boston.
Hey, Shiv. What's going on?
Well, I saw your appearance on Joe Rogan, and I was actually curious if you're familiar with Chomsky's propaganda model.
Yes, I am.
So I guess you pointed out to Joe, I guess, that these companies that kind of have a public image of kind of being liberal institutions. So I guess I wanted you to kind of generally comment on how right now, I guess, this right-wing kind of, I guess these Dave Rubin types, Tim Pool types are kind of criticizing Twitter or YouTube for being leftist organizations when in actuality, I suppose that's the image that they're trying to put out. So in a lot of ways, these are actually hard right-wing capitalist organizations that are trying to make people think that they're liberal to kind of get away with pushing that right-wing agenda. And I guess I kind of want to get your thoughts on that since you brought that up with Joe Rogan.
Yeah, that's really good. And I'm glad to have a chance to talk about this more because, so for people who don't know what Shiv is talking about, very briefly, on the Joe Rogan program, Joe said, YouTube clearly is left-wing. And I said, in what way? And he said, well, it's like they're based in Silicon Valley and like everybody there is liberal. And I think he said maybe like their CEO is liberal or something like that. And I made the case. I wasn't saying there is no way in which you could qualify YouTube as left-leaning. And I'll say more about that in a second. But what I pointed out is YouTube is a huge corporation. Their primary interest and their motivations in most of the decisions they make are financial. And they benefit financially from pushing sort of right-wing, supply-side, low-tax, anti-regulation stuff, and that's not super left-wing. Now, I do think the one thing I didn't say, Shiv, and I think is a fair criticism, is that there's a difference between saying YouTube structurally and economically is right-wing versus YouTube's internal culture is right-wing. You can have a situation where YouTube's internal work culture or Facebook's internal work culture is more progressive, hipstery, left-leaning, whatever, and yet still their outward-facing sort of structural economic priorities line up more with low-tax, anti-regulation right-wingers. And I didn't get a chance to say that on Rogan, and I think that is an important missing piece. So while I completely agree with you, like, yes, the corporatist priorities of these companies are sort of more in line with Republicans. Any company is looking to make money. Looking to make money is not necessarily left-wing or right-wing, and the culture can still be one that is a left-wing culture. We just have to parse through it and have more of a detailed, nuanced conversation.
Yeah, and it's a good point. I think what kind of irks me about, I guess, this critique of social media coming from, I guess, these so-called free speech advocates is that they're kind of conflating the idea of social liberal ideology with having gay pride with economic ideologies. So
the other thing that's missing from that, which I think is interesting, is increasingly just recognizing diversity or having anti-bullying and harassment on the lines of homophobic slurs or whatever. Increasingly, that's just called being a good, normal person who exists in society. I think it's unfair now to, like, what are you saying about the right when you say if there is an anti-homophobia policy, that's a left-wing company? Like, are you saying that the right is pro-homophobia? At a certain point, we just have to recognize this is just behaving like good people.
Yeah, no, definitely. People are definitely strawmanning each other in that sense.
All right, Shiv, thank you very much. Appreciate the phone call.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.